Sonlin and Herwig Konings are founding partners of Security Token Group. All opinions expressed by them or guests on this podcast are solely their opinions and do not represent the views of Security Token Group or its subsidiaries. You should not take any opinion expressed on the show as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow any investment strategy. This podcast is for informational purposes only.
Hello and welcome to the Security Token Show. We're coming to you from sunny Miami, Florida. I'm your host, Herwig Konings, and joined by my business partner and co-host, Kyle Sonlin. We've got an incredible episode packed for you today. In fact, our main topic is going to be breaking down the first ever institutional real estate deal here in Miami. But before we get into the whole show, we have to thank our sponsor, which this week is Exodus. Now, many of you know Exodus is one of the most popular crypto wallets available. Millions of users trust them. But you might not know that they are actually behind the first and largest Reg A Plus offering that was tokenized to date. Over $75 million raised by thousands of users who became investors and are now able to trade the security token on the T0 marketplace. So go check out Exodus to learn more.
Thank you to Exodus for sponsoring the episode. And we've got a jam-packed episode this week. This is coming in with our Companies of the Week segment. Then we go into industry news. We got new security token offerings, the trading segment. And now we actually have a new segment coming from Eve, breaking down the Metaverse and what's going on in that space. So a lot of amazing things coming in from amazing anchors we have here on the show. And then Herwig and I are going to close it out, breaking down this real estate tokenization play here in Miami. So a really whole host of amazing things going on. So let's dive right into it, Herwig. Companies of the Week. Who you got? Episode 111.
Well, Kyle, this is kind of a no-brainer, if you will. They're actually our most common winner on the show since we started it over 2 years ago. And I'm talking none other than Securitized. And I'm specifically choosing this week, Kyle, Securitized Markets, because they have officially launched and gone to market. And that's a big deal. In fact, we've seen a lot of marketplaces launch this year, but I think it's actually a bigger deal. This is what I want to identify, is that they worked with FINRA to get retail approval from the get-go. So they can trade with anyone. Usually exclusive assets that they had on the Securitized Marketplace are now available to retail investors. So I think it's a huge, huge deal. In fact, Kyle, we saw Carlos stop by the office to do a little special something. In fact, he came by to ring a special opening bell for the first day of the markets. Why don't we check out the clip?
Let's do it.
All right, well, I'm Kyle Sonlin with Herwig Konings, and we're here with Carlos Domingo in our Miami Security Token Market HQ, and we're here to prep a live launch of something really exciting. But before we dive into that, Herwig, let's just talk a little bit about security tokens and liquidity in the secondary markets.
I think one of the biggest things and one of the biggest promises of digital securities and security tokens is the whole point of access for pretty much anyone, right? Democratizing capital markets is a massive, massive theme. It's a new paradigm shift for capital markets. I think we can all agree. And this is it. This is the moment today where that is actually now possible, where anyone around the world can go and access digital securities on a secondary market and start trading into different tokenized assets. And Carlos is here to help, mark that historical day here with the launch of Securitized Markets.
Well, first I want to say thank you to you guys for preparing the opening of the bell for Securitized Markets. This is a very special moment for our company, and I guess for you guys as well, having been together in this industry since the very beginning, because we've been working on this project for over a year. We bought the license last year, and then had to go through a regulatory process of getting it approved for transfer, the ownership, and then building the entire trading platform, as well as getting the regulatory approval to launch the way we're launching today. So it's a very exciting moment, and I couldn't be in a better place and better company to do it.
Yeah, well, we can't wait, because this idea of liquidity is something that, from a security token perspective, was the coup de grace of this industry, right? Okay, you can create an asset that anyone can invest in and have fractionalized ownership in both existing assets that can now trade much more freely, as well as new and exotic types of assets that never before had a market like this before. But this idea of secondary markets has been kind of elusive for especially the United States market that's had some additional regulatory compliance that's been required. And so this is a fascinating, I think, development in this industry that we're finally starting to see these things coming to fruition. I know that you and your team have put a ton of work into making that happen. So very, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, this is the promise, right? That you want to democratize access to capital markets using blockchain technology. That the same way that, let's say, internet democratized access to advertising for the long tail of advertising people, and commerce, communications, etc. So the big promise of blockchain is democratizing access to capital markets. But if you give people access to things that are illiquid, especially for individual investors, you're creating a different problem, which is the lack of liquidity, right? And what happens if you need the money at some point in time? What happens if you get married and have 3 kids, or you move to a different city? So giving access and giving liquidity has to go hand by hand. And as you said, this has been an elusive idea. I guess it's because it is not easy to get it done. Getting the licenses is complicated. Once you have the license, getting the platform built, the regulatory approvals to launch, etc. I think last year was an interesting moment when the SEC approved this 3-step process for settling for digital asset securities ATSs, which I think it really changed the paradigm, because it allows to really have the promise of this instant settlement experience that you're going to see in securitized markets.
Yeah. Well, we're excited, and 9:30 is coming up here, folks. We're going on the traditional launch here of the classic Wall Street model. So here we go, the first opening bell, Securitized Markets. We're live. Here we go.
In 3, 2, 1, go. Everybody can go to Securitized.io. You can go there. If you already have a Securitized ID, you should be able to log in with your existing Securitized ID and just pass a simple suitability test to enter the secondary market. If not, go create a Securitized ID. You have a button on the right side of our website that says register. It will allow, hopefully, for a very seamless experience into creating an account and then being able to access the site. We're going to be launching a number of securities within the next few weeks. We've staggered the launch so we don't crowd everything at the beginning and make sure the experience is good and the approval of the accounts and everything is seamless. Within the next few weeks, we're going to be the largest marketplace in terms of number of assets, and I hope that within the next few weeks or months, we'll be the largest one by liquidity as well. So please give it a try to the product, give us feedback, and hopefully you'll enjoy the experience.
We hope so. Congratulations, Carlos. We also got you this wonderful T-shirt.
Nice.
This is exclusive. I'm
the first one outside the team that will have a security token market T-shirt.
We're keeping the balance.
I'm going to change the name for the next one.
So if you have 5 minutes, I'd like to talk a little bit about securitized markets and what that experience is going to be for the users of the platforms. As you said, you can go to securitized.io and begin the KYC process through Securitized ID, correct?
That's correct. So we already have more than close to 400,000 investors that have used Securitized ID and have created accounts, and they're in different stages of approval. So if you already have your Securitized ID account because you purchased some of our primary offerings in the past from companies like Blockchain Capital, Spice, or Lottery, or many others, then that Securitized ID should allow you to enter the securitized market, secondary market trading. And because this is a broker-dealer, there is something called the Suitability Test, which is basically these questions about your tolerance of risk and things like that you have to complete. It's very simple, and hopefully everybody should be able to do it within a minute. And then after that, you will see the number of assets listed there, and then just take a side of the trade. If you have tokens, you can place a buy order, a sell order. If you don't, just look for the sell orders of other people and either take one at the price they're offering or put something at a different price.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have tokenized the most security tokens to date here, but I know they're not all going to be live right now, but you guys are live on Securitized Markets. So what's available there? What can we go purchase today?
So we're going to start, so our goal is to list 10 securities within the next few weeks. So what we've decided is to start with 4, and then every week or 2 weeks within the next weeks, we're going to be adding the rest. So at the beginning, we're going to have, let's say, the OGs of the security token market listed there, because we felt those are the securities that are already in the hands of more people and people are familiar with. These are projects that are also doing extremely well in terms of price appreciation. So probably people that has held the tokens for a long time, they'll have an appetite to sell some of the assets. So we can start with BCAP from Blockchain Capital, Spice VC, 22X, and Science. These were like kind of the 4 security tokens in the industry, and then we're going to progressively start adding other ones like Currencies that you guys worked with. We're going to add Exodus, obviously, which is listed on is issued on Algorand. We're going to be adding Cosimox, and you can see on our website we've listed the coming soon ones. But this is just the beginning. The idea is that this is one of the frustrating things for me has been to seeing some of the markets that launched before that for years they haven't listed anything. And it's not because there are no assets out there, it's just been for a variety of reasons. We want to get, within next year to like 100 assets, because I believe that having a lot of assets will attract more investors, and more investors will mean more liquidity and mean also more assets that want to come on board, right? So besides leveraging our existing base and of both assets and investor ideas, what we want to do is to go out there and then look for other companies that want to list them.
And let's squash finally a misconception in the security token industry, and that is that only accredited investors can buy and sell security tokens.
No, that's nothing to do with whether you're a security token or not. That has to do with whatever, exemption from registration you decide to follow on the primary issuance first, and then what type of, restrictions you lift on the secondary market. So let's go one by one. On the primary issuance, the most follow exemption has been Reg D 506C, which is only for accredited in the US. And this is why there is this misconception. But recently, we actually helped issue and raise the money for a crypto wallet called Exodus that raised $75 million with a different exemption, which called Reg A Plus, that allows for retail. And we've done a lot of Reg CF as well, which I know you guys have some news around that soon. So I think that those are allowed for retail participation, and now the thresholds are 5 million for Reg CF and 75 for Reg A Plus. Now, once you've issued the token and you want to trade it, there is a rule called 144A that basically once a year has passed, you can just freely trade with retail if the issuer decides to do so. And after, getting a letter from the lawyers of the issuer stating that everything is clean. So many of the assets that you will see in securitized markets are available for trading for retail people. And we support from our broker-dealer retail investors. So please, if you're a retail investor, this is your first opportunity probably into investing in an asset class like a venture capital firm. So it should be very exciting for you. You can just buy, as small as, the amount of money you want. If you want to trade $10 or $50, $100, that's not a problem. So we think that this is very revolutionary.
Wow. Okay, so all 4 of the tokens you're launching with today are retail accessible.
That's correct, yeah.
Wow, that's big news. That we haven't seen this scale before, and this is an exciting time.
Yes, it will be retail and it will be accessible for international investors as well. So if you're not in the US, you can still come and create a securitized ID account. You'll go through like a different onboarding process because every jurisdiction has different rules in terms of how we onboard investors. Many of our securitized ID investors are from not US countries, from foreign countries. Europe, Japan, Asia, etc.
Most of our traffic is international as well.
Yeah, and you'll be able to trade as well. And then the other question is about market hours.
When will we be able to trade?
Yes, so today, because we have a US license, what we have been approved for is for trading in US market hours, which is 9:30 until 4 p.m. We think that there is no reason why markets should only be open at certain hours, right? These are digital platforms that operate completely on their own, right? So except for some things that we need to be able to provide support outside market hours, etc., which we're putting it together now. There is no reason why we're not going to be able to launch very soon 24/7 trading, and that will allow this platform to be US regulated but available worldwide at any time for any type of investors. So there is no need to, like some other people are doing, trying to get licenses in multiple countries from one place, which is probably the toughest place to go through from a regulatory perspective, which means also is the most robust and the most safe. Then we'll be able to onboard and trade assets and investors from any jurisdiction.
Great. Well, Carlos, thank you so much for joining us here in the office, and we cannot wait to see how this platform goes from here.
Thanks to you guys for preparing this. This is a very nice surprise that they told me a couple of weeks ago. So it's been my pleasure, especially because we've been working together on this industry for a long time, probably longer than anyone.
Almost coming up 4 years.
Yeah, coming up 4 years that we've met for the first time. So for me, it's a pleasure to have come to this long journey of building the company, getting the licenses, and then finally launch. So this is the first step.
We've done
a long journey.
It's here. The Security Token Wave is here, Carlos. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man, that bell is loud, huh, Kyle?
Especially in those small rooms, but didn't blast the hype at all. We were pumped up for this launch, and amazing news coming from them.
Huge, Kyle. Now, moving on, who is your company of the week?
So for my company of the week, I'm going with Visa. Now, you may have seen this news, but Visa has been on the forefront of blockchain technology. They've been investing in a lot of companies in the space. They've been very active in developing their own solutions and actually coming out of their own venture Skunkworks lab. They've actually launched an Ethereum layer 2 solution to link stablecoins, CBDCs, and all other stablecoins and centralized currencies in one platform, enabling transfer between blockchains, between banks, internationally, one platform that they are specifically building by leveraging blockchain technology. They compared it to other layer 2 solutions we've seen on Bitcoin or Ethereum. They're really taking a significant approach here in leveraging blockchain technology for payments networks, and that is just yet another sign of an insanely large institution looking to leverage blockchain in their payment structure.
Huge deal. I think that's a great choice. Visa is a massive, massive company, a massive innovator in the financial space. And now they are, putting their money where their mouth is. They clearly believe in this technology, and now they've brought a layer 2 solution for stablecoins and central bank digital currencies, which are clearly on the rise as a mega trend for the token space.
Yeah,
so great choice.
It's
Kyle.
interesting, you look at the original solutions for payments processors like this. You have Ripple, which was trying to be the one currency to settle everything. And now you're seeing as this development of bridge protocols comes about, where Visa's not necessarily saying they're creating their own currency that everyone will use, but instead a platform where all stable coins and CBDCs can interact in harmony. It'll be interesting to see how these two different types of solutions play out moving forward.
Absolutely. I love it. We'll be keeping an eye. And with that, let's get to the top 5 things that you need to know in the industry today.
Let's dive in. And moving into our top 5 headlines, we got number 1, and this is Securitized Markets. They launched, they now have 4 trading assets on their platform to retail investors. We're talking BCAP, Spice VC, 22X, and Science. These were also listed on Open Finance, which was acquired by INX, and to my knowledge is still trading on INX. We'll see if they continue to cross-list, but they are now available to retail investors on the Securitized Markets platform. We know there's been a lot of demand for BCAP in the past and some of these other ones, so this is fascinating to see, and only time will tell how these are adopted by the industry, but Carlos and the team are very confident that these demands are going to be very successful.
That's amazing stuff. More assets to trade. Everybody loves that. Moving into number 2, we've got Entoro. Entoro is a broker dealer. They've got a marketplace where you can go and buy security tokens, and they're launching an NFT security token. So we've seen hints of this in the past, like with Club Necaxa and some other examples, but this seems to be a full-on regulated NFT sale with a broker dealer involved. It's exclusive to accredited investors. And what this is actually they're selling 9 of 10 special NFTs that represent a right to purchase physical art by a Cuban artist named Rolando Diaz, who made a piece that you can now purchase if you actually acquire all of the different tokens together, it seemed like, according to the Entoro offering. So definitely very interesting stuff. You now do have NFT security tokens in the marketplace. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out on Entoro.
Yeah, this is more gray area. You've got the Damien Hirst NFTs that are convertible into the actual art painting that are not being sold as securities. Now you've got this, which is kind of a redeemable right to us. There's a lot of gray area, interesting stuff. Moving into number 3, we've got Curzio Research, who famously was the first private company to list on a foreign exchange to retail investors via a security token. He worked with security token advisors to help make that process possible, along with a lot of great partners. And Curzio Research has announced that they are delisting from Merge and are going to be listing onto T0. So they are coming onto the platform that's been around this game for the longest, has driven such a tremendous amount of volume to the industry from a secondary market trading perspective. Curzio is listing on T0. Big news.
Big deal. Frank he was a great client. It's sad to see that he was delisting from Merge, but I'm sure it makes sense that he's moving on to T0. He was the 10th token on Securitized to ever be issued, and now he's one of the top 10 to be listed on T0, at least in Q4. According to the announcement.
They also are going to be fully tokenizing the entire cap table, not just their fundraise round. So that's going to be fascinating to see an additional tranche of the asset opening up to the public.
Can't wait to see that happen. Moving on to number 4, we've got a partnership announcement between Oasis Pro and Anchorage. So Oasis Pro is one of the new ATSs that's going live in the near future. And now they've announced a partnership with Anchorage for custody as well as for settlement on the platform. So Anchorage is one of these major blockchain custodians, and they have had a focus for security tokens for quite some time now. And now it looks like if you're going to be operating on the Oasis Pro market, you've got the support and the technology technology behind Anchorage on the platform. So congratulations, Oasis Pro. I'm sure that's a necessary and critical piece of your infrastructure in order to go live.
Yeah, Anchorage continues to build market share. I know they're already working with T0 and I believe Securitized and others. So they are really dominating that custody and settlement piece, and they are the go-to provider there. Moving into number 5, we have INX, which has struck a partnership with Intangible Properties Exchange, which is a platform going to be listing its securities onto the INX platform. Now, Intangible Properties is a platform that strikes IP and sells high-value intellectual property and creates securities around those things. They will be listing those onto INX, which will presumably be INX's first listings onto the platform since acquiring OFN.
Intellectual property can be very valuable. It can earn licensing rights. It can be purchased by other companies. It is very much so the asset within many different technology companies. So to see this new tokenization technology come to the IP world, I just got to say, we can see some exciting products coming to market in the near future.
And that concludes our top 5. So let's kick it over to Jessica, who's going to break down the industry news.
Hi, I'm Jessica Burns, aka Token Girl 305, and I am back with this week's industry updates. The Bank for International Settlements has published a report touting the benefits of the central bank digital currencies, especially in reducing the cost of cross-border payments. According to the report, building a multi-CBDC platform for international payments can reduce the transaction throughout the payments from just 3 to 5 business days to only a few seconds. A phase 2 prototype showed a possible 50% reduction in the cost of cross-border payments. These collaborative efforts are also being championed by entities such as BIS and the International Monetary Fund as being more advantageous to the current financial landscape, especially amid the growing popularity of cryptocurrencies. Big news in the crypto world, institutional investors are expected to start buying crypto to increase their revenues over the long term. As many as 62% of global institutional investors with zero exposure to cryptocurrencies said that they expect to make their first investments in crypto within the next year. According to the survey results, the main reason for institutional investors' first cryptocurrency investment is the potential capital increase in the long term. 44% of respondents cited growing confidence in crypto as an asset class, with corporates and fund managers increasingly investing in crypto. 41% of respondents also indicated that they were willing to invest in crypto for the first time due to the improved regulatory environment, while 34% considered crypto as a good hedge against inflation. Might be a time to buy that dip. Back in the US, the IRS continues to propose new tax reforms to regulate the crypto investments in the US, with the latest notice sharing tax obligations for the marijuana industry. The notice, signed by the IRS Small Business Self-Employed Division Commissioner DeLeon Harris, reflects the priorities of the U.S. federal agency to ensure cryptocurrency tax compliances among local businesses that grow, distribute, and sell cannabis. Commissioner Harris said that the use of cryptocurrencies in the cannabis industry is one of the top enforcement priorities of the IRS. According to Harris, those who use crypto need to understand that the IRS considers it property and there are gains on that are taxable. DBS Victor secured a Singapore license to offer digital payment token services, while Australian cryptocurrency exchange Independent Reserve became the first foreign entity to be granted one. Industry observers expect more such licenses under the Payment Service Act to be rolled out in the coming months, as the Monetary Authority of Singapore has recently given its in-principle approval to several applicants. The first license was issued to Singapore's fintech firm FOMOPay last month. The regulatory approvals are being granted at a time when cryptocurrency firms are facing intense scrutiny from worldwide regulators amid the fast-growing digital asset industry. With the license, DBS Victors will be able to directly support asset managers and companies to trade in digital payment tokens through DDEX. Decentralized mortgage lender Bacon Protocol officially launched on Tuesday, allowing cryptocurrency investors to participate in the housing market through a new stablecoin that's backed by USD Coin and home loans. Bacon also announced that it is holding a public sale of BHONE token, which is described as a stablecoin that's backed dollar for dollar by the USDC, liens and loans on properties in the US. Early participants in the sale will be eligible to receive additional rewards via the Bacon government's token. Bacon Protocol works by giving homeowners the ability to exchange a lien on their property for an NFT that represents a percentage of the property that they purchase. The NFT gives buyers collateral to access other crypto markets, including DeFi. The entire process is initially facilitated by Virgin-backed LoanSnap, a financial services company that helps American homeowners save on interest rates and its associated costs. And for the most exciting news today, security tokens will grow into a $162 trillion in trading volume by 2030. The global listed trading volume of security tokens is expected to explode by 2030, with a total security tokens issuance worth more than $4 trillion in the same period. This comes at a leading analyst tipped security tokens as a shining crypto asset class of the coming decade. Trillions of dollars worth of assets await securitization through blockchain tokenization. Our time is finally here, my friends. And back in the STA headquarters, Peter Gaffney is at it again. This week in his Tokenize This, he talks about NFTs as utility tokens. And hopping on the NFT trend, I also wrote about NFTs this week, how they work, and breaking down the most interesting NFT sales. You can find those articles and more on the STM website. And that's all I've got for you this week. Now let's head over to John and get the latest STO and market updates.
Welcome back to my side of the blockchain. I'm John Pibbin, the Token Boy, and I'm here with your weekly security token offering update. First, we'll start with a developer based in my home state of Texas. It's a company called Entoro Worldwide, and they're using the STO approach to raise capital to build and complete a residential complex. The company states that its new belief in this new method of financing and desire to be a pioneer in such endeavors has prompted the company to crowdsource the funding. The complex will be named Tower 27, and it will be a 24-story, 374-unit building in downtown San Jose, California. In addition to the residential units, Tower 27 will add 35,000 square feet of retail, such as shops and restaurant spaces. Altoro Worldwide is calling this investment offering the T27 Silicoin security token. Yeah, you heard me correctly, Silicoin, not Silicon. The project's owners hope to catch the eyes of investors to raise upwards to $100 million. Now, this will make this offering the largest single real estate STO in the U.S. Now, the security token offering is expected to launch October 1st. Physical construction is aimed to begin in the first half of 2022, completed by the end of 2024, and the tower filled with tenants by the end of 2025. Up next, we have the first SEC-regulated estate-backed investment token in Thailand. The token, dubbed Siri Hub token, will allow investors to gain stable yields. The token primary offering will be handled by Xpring Digital Company Limited. They operate as an ICO portal, but they do have Thailand SEC approval for asset tokenization. Now, the token's underlying asset will be Siri Campus. The campus is located in Bangkok at a prime location with convenient public transportation, innovative tech, and state-of-the-art facilities, making for a modern yet futuristic workplace. Siri Campus has a steady cash flow generated from a long-term lease agreement with Sansiri Public Company, Thailand's leading real estate developer. Depending on the type of digital token invested, investors will receive a quarterly revenue share of 4.5%. Now, holders are expected to receive revenue share quarterly all the way until the end of the project. Minimum investments can be done for 10 Thai baht or 30 cents US dollars and can be executed conveniently through a simple cell phone. The Siri Hub tokens will be able to be traded in digital asset exchanges throughout 4 years of the token's life. Now, thanks for stopping by for your weekly STO update. If you have any offerings we have not covered yet, please do not hesitate to reach me out on Twitter at TokenBoyAdvisor. And I will see you on the other side of the blockchain.
Hey everyone, it's Keith. Welcome back to another weekly trading segment. As always, all news and pricing data is sourced from STOmarket.com. Today, the total security token market cap is sitting at $1 billion, maintaining these levels for the past few weeks now as volatility has subsided with all of the new listings finding their place in the market. Securitized this week unlocks broader access to alternative investments with its new platform, Securitized Markets. The platform will allow investors to participate in the trading of private company equity in real estate, funds for primary and secondary market trading, all within a single regulated digital marketplace. Primary offerings will include funds with the objective of generating risk-adjusted returns, primarily consisting of income from digital assets such as USD coin. We'll be watching the development of this very closely as we move forward in the next few weeks. Overstock and its OSTKO token, with a nice spike in price this week. It's up 12.9% at $70 flat from $62 the week prior. Trading volume has subsided a bit, down to 1.1 million from 1.6 million last week. Real estate security tokens are on the move this week as well, with several of Realty's tokens surging more than 10% in price on the decentralized exchange LevinSwap. Aspen Coin also rose significantly this week, up 4.5% at $1.15 from $1.10 last week. The INX token traded negatively this week, down 3% to $2.57 from $2.67 earlier in the week. Volume also pulled back a bit to 3 million from 3.4 million last week. The Exodus token continues to take a plunge from its launch price. The token is sitting at around $19.50, down 28% from $27.42 earlier. Trading activity is up a bit for the week for the token. It reached just above $300,000 in weekly volume. To wrap up, we have to talk about the movement in T0's TZRUP. It's back down to 512, a decline of 10%. Volume also declined, sitting at 829,000 from just around 1 million last week. It's been another fun week in the markets. As always, do your own research and hit me up on Twitter at KeithDLT to send me all your hot takes.
Wakey, wakey. Welcome to Inside the Metaverse with your host, Eve Van Call. We go over the top 5 breaking news relating to the Metaverse weekly. First, I'd like to start off with Facebook's Metaverse Fund, with the goal of building the Metaverse responsibly. The Metaverse is now Facebook's new baby, and they are not holding back. Facebook's announcement blog is calling the Metaverse the next computing platform. And I don't blame them, because every day it's like, bam, bam, something new. The Metaverse is putting the C in collaboration. Speaking of collaboration, mommy, I want to be a hacker when I grow up, because Belt Finance, an automated market maker, just paid a white hat hacker, aka a good hacker, a $1 million commission check for stopping a $10 million bug crisis. A reward that is the largest to be publicly recorded in the DeFi space so far. So wakey, wakey, the world is changing. Next up, Axie Infinity smashes through a $2 billion in all-time NFT sales. Axie Infinity managed to get a strong base in Asia, especially in the Philippines, where the community found the game to be a sustainable source of income. Following tremendous growth in this early stages, Axie started attracting attention in the global scale, and it looks like it's paying off. They are officially the most valuable NFT collection to date. Pushing forward with their objectives, Animoca Brands has acquired a majority stake in NFT solution provider Bondly. The investment is looking to use Bondly solutions to promote the adoption of NFTs across Animoca's portfolio. Animoca has an extensive investment portfolio in NFT industry, ranging from infrastructure platforms such as Flow and Polygon, play-to-earn initiatives, Yield Guild, and Amasa, Decentraland finance solutions, digital marketplaces, esports, art, and blockchain gaming. That was Inside the Metaverse with your host, Eve Van Call.
Welcome to the main topic of episode 111 of the Security Tokens Show. Today, we're going to be talking about the first Miami real estate deal, the first institutional deal. It's actually raised already over $55 million from the crowd, and it's worth well over $200 million. This is a multi-use property here in Miami. It's actually right across the street from our alma mater, the University of Miami. It's the Thesis Hotel, which also has residences, co-working spaces, it's got restaurants, it's got pretty much everything. It's a cool, cool project.
And not only that, but they're eating their own dog food and they're going to be tokenizing the property. So they have a really innovative structure in how they're going to do that. But first, before we dive into that, let's talk a little bit about NRI. So Nolan Reynolds International owns over $500 million in properties, both here in the United States as well as in Costa Rica. And what they're trying to do here is create more liquidity and access for these real estate investments. So as you talked about, they targeted a really high value property in downtown Coral Gables, right by University of Miami's college campus. And they have both apartment buildings as well as they have hotel units and commercial property as well in this property. And they're creating a more democratized access. So what they're doing is they split up the fundraise into 2 different tranches. One that was a privately fundraised deal, as well as a second piece that was publicly available through the crowdfunding platform CrowdStreet. So they were able to potentially successfully raise up to $75 million for this property of this really large institutional real estate event. And now they're looking to take this opportunity that they've raised through a traditional financing vehicle and explore tokenization.
It's exciting. We're talking about a real estate developer with over 100 years of operating experience. This is not just somebody saying, hey, let's try out this tokenization thing. They really think that this is the future of their industry. And so they did exactly what you just said. They gave a capability of their existing private investors to put in 20 million, and then they managed to raise 55 million through a crowdfunding portal called CrowdStreet, focused on real estate offerings. And what have they done now as a part of this tokenization process? Well, actually, they've enabled it so that you actually retain your traditional investment in what's called operating units, the operating partnership units, which essentially entitle you to the net profits of the operating income from the property that we just explained to you. But more importantly, the reason for this is because traditional investors want tax benefits. There's depreciation that happens to this building, and they get to leverage that from a tax purpose. However, none of that is liquid, or it's designed to be liquid. And this company, NRI, has gone ahead and created an innovative structure using an UPREIT, which essentially is a REIT, a real estate investment trust, that is the umbrella to it. Now, what happens is when you decide that you want liquidity and you no longer want your depreciation benefits, well, you can go ahead and convert your OP units into your REIT shares, which are, of course, then tokenized and will be in the future available to trade and have liquidity for.
Yeah, so you had 100% of the property in these OP units from the initial fundraise. And then over time, some of those individuals will continue to convert as it becomes more and more into this REIT status. You've got some that'll be in the REIT, some that will be in these traditional units. And those REIT units are the ones that are going to be tokenized and therefore trading on a secondary market. And the kicker here is that with a traditional Reg D 506C fundraise, you're going to have a 12-month lockup period. But if you choose to convert after 6 months into this REIT structure, you actually may be able to get liquidity even quicker, which is going to be fascinating. They're going to publicly register this REIT so that anyone can be able to invest and trade this underlying asset.
And they haven't picked up on it yet. That's exactly why they're doing this. Why tokenize? Because they want to give their early investors the chance of liquidity at an earlier event, not just tax depreciation. You can take advantage of it if that's the name of your game. But if you want to get out, now they've created this beautiful UPREIT structure that will be tokenized to enable that early liquidity. And that's very exciting because still at the same time, they're targeting an 8% return at least, so 100% of the net operating profits will go back to investors via distribution, and then 75% beyond that will then continue to go back to investors. I think they said they're targeting roughly around a little bit over 9%, so that's very, very exciting. You now might have a real estate asset that's producing yield, that has the capability of liquidity, but still offers you those tax benefits that might have attracted you to it in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, a 9% yield on a real estate property that's got 99% occupancy rates as of today is a fantastic opportunity, really exciting in the hotbed of Miami, Florida. This is just a tremendous deal, very, very exciting to see them bringing such an institutional product to market.
In fact, they even created something else that I think is worth sharing. What a lot of questions happens with real estate is what happens to capital calls and things like that in the event that there is some kind of an emergency or they're building something new. Well, in this case, according to the offering, they've actually created a reserve fund. So you actually don't need to worry about future capital calls as an investor. They've also already anticipated this. And so actually, as part of your whole offering, you really only need to worry about the opportunity to go ahead and convert into this new REIT token.
So what's next for them? Well, the fundraise is subscribed, so that means that the lockup period is on the clock right now, which is exciting news. The tokenization is going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months, depending on when they're actually able to execute that, issue the tokens, handle all that process. But then after that, they'll hit the secondary market, they'll figure out all that stuff, but they're not done here. They're trying to tokenize more properties. They're trying to replicate this process with more real estate properties. So I would imagine we're going to see more deals like this coming soon from MNRI.
They've got over a $500 million portfolio, as we mentioned earlier, and you can expect that many other real estate developers will also follow suit. Now that a leader like this is showing by leading by example here that you can actually tokenize and take advantage of it and do it the right way. So that's really, really exciting for the whole security token industry. It just means a whole lot more institutional real estate deals are going to be coming our way.
So if you want to read more about this specific opportunity, read the case study published by Mike Lingle through the Security Token Advisors on the Security Token Market blog. That'll be linked below, as well as through all of our social medias. You can also reach out to Nolan Reynolds and check out more information there. But with that, I think that wraps up our main topic. So definitely check out our What's Drippin' newsletter. Check out more of our resources. Subscribe, like it, drop a comment, and connect with us on LinkedIn or Twitter to talk more about security tokens and stay a part of the community.
In fact, we just launched our Discord channel, so go and give us a shout there. And meanwhile, catch you next week and happy tokenizing.